All right, now, this morning, we would like to focus on one county, on County Watch, Taita Taveta County. It has been in the headlines, you know, when it comes to issues to do with politics, what has been going on within the county. And remember, the governor, that is Granton Samboja, had signed a memorandum to dissolve the county government. The wrangles that are concerning the 830 million shilling that the members of County Assembly, in his own, words, he says that they allocated themselves through the Ward Development Fund. It's all about Taita Taveta County, health issues, development issues. How far is Taita Taveta County? What is happening? Remember, this is where accountability matters. County Watch starts now.
Barely a week after Taita Taveta County Governor Granton Samboja launched a campaign for the dissolution of the county, citing harassment by the MCAs, the government has moved in to quell the simmering tensions that is hampering service delivery at the county. The tug of war sparked by a move by the county MCAs to demand ward development allocations from the county's 5.3 billion shillings budget for the year 2019-2020. Cabinet Secretary for Devolution Eugene Wamalwa, leading a team to mediate in the impasse, warned a move for dissolution was detrimental to the region's development.
That dissolution is such a drastic measure. It should be the last resort. There must be other ways that matters can be resolved, including budgetary issues. And we do know that it is not just Taita Taveta County that has issues.
Taita Taveta Deputy Governor Majala Mlagui and the CECs representing the county executive made their cases at the talks. Wamalwa urged the county to resolve the matter amicably, citing the law provides for mechanisms to resolve such issues to safeguard the interest of the electorates.
We have captured the issues from the executive. They have briefed us at length, and we're clear on the issues. And after this, we are proceeding to now engage with the County Assembly leadership. We intend to, after our consultations today, to set a date when a mediation team comprising of the parties that have mentioned will be able to visit Taita Taveta to find out what bedevils this county.
Trouble is said to have started when the MCAs allocated themselves 41.5 million shillings each for projects in their wards. The governor, however, declined to assent to the proposed budget, terming it illegal. Among the mediation team is the Commission on Revenue Allocation, the Auditor General and Treasury. Meanwhile, the Senate has vowed not to relent in their move to have the counties allocated 327 billion shillings. Senate Devolution Committee Chair Honorable John Kinyua says the national budget and taxes have increased. He dismissed claims by the National Assembly MPs that county funds should not be increased owing to continued graft.
Rais amekuwa akisema vizuri sana ufisadi upigano na. Kwa hivyo huwezi leta kisingizio ya kwamba kuna ufisadi katika county ati pesa hazitakwenda huko. Jambo ama jibu la hilo mambo ya ufisadi ni kupigana na ufisadi.
Kamche Menza, Channel 1 News.
Now, to help us demystify what's happening in Taita Taveta County, I'm joined by Honorable Cleophas Maghanga. He is the 2017 senatorial aspirant and Ford Kenya National Executive Member. Karibu sana mheshimiwa.
Asante sana ndugu Ram kwa kutukaribisha.
Next to him is Honorable Omar Ahmed. He is the MCA of the Kaloleni ward in Voi Constituency and the Vice Chairperson of the Justice and Legal Committee. Remember, he is also a former chair of the Public Accounts and was also in the Budget Committee. Karibu sana.
Good morning.
Good morning to you. Remember, the hashtag, as always, is Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. Tag us at Jane Wambui, at Ram Aguko, at KBC Television. That is our official handle. Keep the tweets coming in. Our SMS line is on at the top of your screen, 20154. So, Waheshimiwa, what is happening? Is this the solution, dissolving the government? Let me start with you.
Thank you, Ndugu Ram, for inviting us to this show to air our views concerning what is going on in our county. Of course, a lot has been happening in our county, and I would like to point out at this point that we have the executive and the county assembly which are at loggerheads, and each has taken its stand. They don't want to cede positions. But what I would like to point out as a politician in our county is that I would appreciate if we would invite the president and the devolution cabinet secretary to come and try and mediate this situation for the benefit of Mwananchi.
But of course, people are interested in Taita Taveta County. Remember, even Raila Amolo Odinga also came to your county to try and solve things out. But coming to you, Mheshimiwa, so each member of county assembly is allocating themselves 41.5 million shillings for projects in their wards. Is it workable?
Maybe just to correct, it's not us allocating myself, like it will be in my bank account or so. Yeah, basically, this money is for development in the various wards.
So who allocates the money?
Basically, we went for public participation with the executive, and we looked at the priorities that were set aside. I'll give you just, for example, in my ward, some of the things that were prioritized actually were ridiculous. Some are projects which already have been done and paid for a long time ago.
Okay, who prioritizes these projects?
The community. When you go for public participation, we sit with the community, and the community tells us these are the key issues that we see that are workable. After that, the executive actually prepares a report on the same. And equally, because I was there, I know some of the issues that are also within there.
But the community is not part of the decision-making table. They, you bring in their participation, they bring in their views, what they want. But now, when it comes to allocation of funds, 41.5 million shillings was not allocated by the community.
Basically, we made amendments. At the first time, we had agreed on 31.5 million for each of the wards in terms of projects. And it's not only projects. Some of these things are budgets in terms of roads maintenance. There is a budget on aspects of bursaries and the same, because each ward is actually allocated. And this actually came about because, as you remember, in Kenya, when we started after independence, only the areas which had cash crops and such kind of things are the ones which got development. So for us, our thinking is it's not ward development, it's the equalization to ensure that there is some kind of development in each of the wards that moves equally. And this is only 830 million out of 1.8 billion shillings.
But that is still money.
Yes.
830 is still.
Yes.
It is not something
yes, and
only
still,
830.
And still the person who's going to implement is the CCs and the governor.
Now, the governor said you can only go to dialogue when all parties are sincere with each other, not another party yenye imeweka kadi chini ya meza.
Yeah, even in his memorandum for the petition, he has raised one of the concerns as being he has had, in quotes, that there is an impeachment motion against him.
You want to impeach the governor?
In quotes.
No, do you want to?
We don't. Nobody is interested even actually in impeachment.
You don't want to impeach the governor?
Personally, I'm not in the county assembly, but those are rumors we've had. But you see, I would like to urge my governor to actually just try and sit with the MCAs and mediate or dialogue on these contentious issues, because I agree, and I agree with the governors that in that budget there are some projects, and my friend Omar knows, and I've talked to several MCAs, there are some projects, the ones you're calling Churuchuru there in our county, there are some projects that are contentious. But beyond that, I don't think there are issues that cannot be reconciled or things that warrant us to go the dissolution way.
So you've said that there are projects that you've dealt with.
Yeah, like I'd still pick my word and say, actually we are allocated in this current budget before amendments, 38 million to do over 28 projects. 28? 28 projects. And what
when did these projects start?
And what the amendments that I created, I made like blocks so that it's not we talk of small projects. Can we talk of bigger projects, for example? So we moved from 28 projects to only 15 projects. Because if it's an ECD and you want to, because it's a default function, why don't you build the whole ECD and just finish it?
But then why then does the governor want to dissolve your government, that county, Taita Taveta County, if what you are working with is something that you're claiming it is logical?
No, Ram, here is a situation where you are with the governor. 1 minute, we've had a very cordial working relationship with him. This came just from nowhere. Actually, he had even sent a memorandum to the county assembly on the same budget, because he's allowed by law to bring a memorandum. And even people had not even discussed the memorandum, already is talking about dissolution. Beyond that, we gave him 3 good opportunities, even during the budgeting process, to come and tell us what are the key issues that for him as a governor, that he thinks are supposed to be within the budget. For example, he talks about healthcare. Healthcare, you know, it touches everybody. When somebody talks about and goes around and tell people that, you know, they've removed even the budget for medicine. Basically, even the budget for healthcare was not even touched. It remains as it was proposed.
Have you approached the governor? You're saying he has not, so he has not approached you. Have you approached him?
We have done through media. We don't see him because he is not around. He doesn't pick anybody's calls. So that is why, as Cleophas has said, there must come in somebody who can call both parties.
You're doing that through the media. You don't have, okay.
I think
no, because
the major issues in our county has been when there was this budget impasse, we ought to have a neutral arbiter, someone who could come in and bring both parties to the table and try to iron out those issues. And I think up until this moment, we've seen the CS devolution trying to fill that gap. But as a citizen of Taita Taveta County, I feel he's taking too much time. He should have moved with speed to try and brought these 2 parties together, that is the county assembly and the executive, much earlier, even before we have reached this point whereby the governor is calling for dissolution. And you know, I'm one of the people who has been very vocal about dialogue, because, and with very valid reasons, because I am a staunch supporter of the governor, but on this one I have said, and I've advised the governor on a personal level, that it is good with dialogue on these issues. Much as we are in a point of a conflict with the county assembly, but the only way out, personally, I believe, is through dialogue. Because
Ram, as you remember, the law provides for somebody like the senator, who's supposed to be one of the key arbiters at the county level. But already the senator has taken sides. So how will he even arbitrate about such kind of things?
Is the governor listening to you? Do you think he's going to pay attention to what your requests are?
If we have the interests of Taita Taveta County at heart, then that will be the most noble thing that he can do. And I know with him, and in the very 1 year or 2 years that we have been with him, he's somebody who listens, but I would wish that even this time he listens again to reason, so that we can sit and agree and disagree on certain aspects, so that it's only the common man who's getting a lot of problems.
But I don't think for some people like the members of county assemblies, people who have a personal connection with the governor, as you said, can fail to reach the governor when it comes to dialogue.
I can tell you today, even on television, that even those 3 times, leave alone calling him, which he did not pick, we even sent the deputy governor.
Nothing.
Nothing. He said in television, I will not talk to anybody.
But he said that, I said this earlier, that another party imeweka kadi chini ya meza.
There is no such card. How can you be suspicious of something that has not happened, or something that you have been told? Is it true? Is it a lie?
And again, also what I would like to add, when we are working together, that is the county assembly and the county executive, I think it is only when we have that mutual good relationship between each other that we won't be having those suspicions. And I want to urge also my governor in that once he starts talking to the MCAs and the MCAs start talking to him, because at the moment, the way we're speaking, the atmosphere down there is very poisoned, which is not even good for business in our county, for so many things in our county. We are seeing people throwing insults at each other. And I think it needs all of us to put our heads together as people of Taita Taveta for the sake of Mwananchi. And I am one of the believers that the governor has the heart of the people at heart. And that is why he has taken the stand he's taken. But then again, allow me also to mention that both the county assembly and the executive, they've taken the stands they've taken, and they also have very good reasons. I'll say this, the reason why I'm saying this is because the governor has a reason why he's saying whatever he's saying. Because the money that has been allocated for development is as Mheshimiwa has said, is 1.8 billion. And already they're saying 800 billion is going to the Ward Equalization Fund.
About 800 million.
Around 800 million, sorry. Yes. It's going to the Ward Equalization.
830
million, or thereabout. So the question is, if we dialogue, can we have the members of the county assembly bring this Ward Equalization Fund down to a certain amount, to a certain level, so that the governor also remains with quite a bit that he wants to undertake in the county? Because once again, I would like to mention that I believe the national government is setting up county governments for failure.
The national government, you're being set up for failure?
They are being set up for failure.
Do you believe so? You're being set up?
For me, currently, one of the key issues that we have had a problem with the national government and actually Treasury is the aspect of getting funds to the counties. Right now, I think they say that funds have been brought around, but not yet. So for even right now, we don't know how much money we are supposed to get in the counties because of the Kara bill, which is still there. There is that big war between the Senate and the National Assembly. But you can imagine, Ram, that does not say that everybody should go home. You can imagine the Senate and the National Assembly at loggerheads. Do we say that they should be dissolved too equally to go somewhere else?
Well, that's not reason to dissolve.
That is not reason. So budget, as I always say, budget is a negotiated process.
But let's look at Taita Taveta County government. You spent 419.65 million shillings on local and foreign trips. The county executive committee member for finance and planning, that is Dr. Vincent Masawi, he had said that the county had spent 331 million on trips, and so seemingly just to dispute that it is not 419 million.
Basically, I would say
a large amount of money.
No,
if
for me,
you're talking about lack of funds.
No, I would usually say most of the work. For example, people actually misunderstand what an MCA actually operates through. For example, for us, we work through committees. Okay, so and even from before, we talked this over from CAF to SRC and all that. We would have wished so much to have a salary that does not have those like sitting allowances and other things coming in. But then you'd see, like SRC, what did they say? We start at 144,000 per month. And then after that, the other things becomes allowances.
Oh, so you're saying these
so
payments
these are
that
like,
you're getting are not things that you want?
Not as such. We would have not preferred.
You can go
even for me, I'm a firm believer that even you, Ram, you're paid just a salary. Are you given an allowance again when you come for such kind of interviews? It does not operate like that. But then that is the mechanism that we picked in terms of a parliamentary system, that people have to have such kind of things. And you would find most of the money is about committee meetings, what do you call it? You do oversight, you need to spend the same money, and all of them is clogged up in terms of travel and allowances.
Is it true that you used 419 million shillings?
Basically, we did not use. We did not use. We had a problem even with the way Vincent said, Dr. Vincent Masawe was the correct position. That is the money that we actually spent.
You spent that money on trips?
Yeah, the 300 and something.
The 319?
319.
Still, it's
still
money. It's still money. But,
yes.
but anyway, Section 134 of the Public Finance Management Act 2012,
yes,
it contemplates such situations that we have and gives the county assembly the power to authorize withdrawal of up to 50% of the amount in the estimate submitted to it until the appropriation law is passed. Now, will it invoke the provision to enable the county to meet its obligations, including the MCA salaries?
Not only the MCA salary, most of the people are so negative about MCAs. But I would say
it's too high, isn't it?
No, it's not too high. We are in a county that only contractual employees, and minus even the county assembly, contractual employees vis-a-vis the permanent employees, we are spending over 2.3 billion shillings in salaries. Yeah? So, when the memorandum was brought to us, one of the attachments to the memorandum was a letter by the CEC for Finance, who was on an acting capacity, Mr. Mwangoma, who brought a document on vote on account and actually passed it. So right now, our expectation is to get 50% of the total recurrent expenditure, and that tells me that hospitals will not lack drugs. All employees will be paid from doctors and every other person for half a year, up to December. That is a provision that was given by the PFM Act, so that to cushion the negotiation process, if in case you have such an impasse and all that. Yeah.
So, in your take, the amount of money that the members of county assemblies are using,
yeah,
is it possible for them to reduce that amount of money, the expenditures that they are having?
Of course, on that to me is, I would say it looks quite extravagant from my own point of view, because those are the things that I think they're making the wananchi irate.
And that's what the governor wants to dissolve.
And I don't think that is the reason why the governor wants to dissolve. It's because of the disagreement over the budget. Budgetary estimates.
I would ask Ram, hypothetically, for example, if today the president says, okay, we have decided you're going to dissolve, and then the governor is elected, and the same MCAs are elected, and I'm still back there. What happens? Do we dissolve again? That is why this law is very, very clear. No, I'm saying hypothetically.
Yeah.
So it gives a very clear roadmap. If such a thing happens, what do you do? If you see along the way, even when the governor visited the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, he went alone, him and the executive, and they gave their side of the story. For us as the county assembly, we are lawmakers, and we know what we have done in black and white. We know what we did in terms of budget, the reasoning. For example, we were supposed to pay casuals 274 million. And we requested, even in the sectoral hearings, with each of the departments, CCs and CCOs, give us a list of who these casuals are, who are being paid 274 million. Up to date, we don't have a list.
They never gave you the list?
They never gave us a list.
So it's a false claim, or is it true?
It is a false as of now, because we don't know who is being paid.
But the money is being lost?
Yes, money will be lost, 274 million. Like
so
that.
If the leaders themselves cannot find out lost money, how do the members of the public trust? How can they build trust?
Not about the leaders. It's how the system operates. For us, we write and we summon, we write and invite the CEC in charge of public service. Come and tell us what you have. What if that CEC does not bring in the reports that are required? So it makes it a little bit difficult, but I know whatever we have is a learning process, and everybody has to learn. about what you're supposed to do and the responsibilities for each.
Okay, let's talk about the appropriation bill for that is there.
Yes.
It was refused. It was rejected. He refused to submit the appropriation bill for consideration by the county assembly, though it ought to have been passed by June 30th. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
Why so?
Yeah, because he brought in a memorandum. Once he brings in a memorandum, then it has to go through the county assembly processes. And in the county assembly processes for the current memorandum that he brought, it was actually rejected. And the law is very clear. It has to be rejected by 2/3 of the members who rejected again the memorandum or that he placed within the county assembly. That came after he had talked about the dissolution and had brought all the memorandum on dissolving the county government.
Will you ever come to agreement in this? Do you think, even the former prime minister said that if you cannot then come to agreement, kama suluhu haiwezi patikana, basi watu waende kwa debe?
And I would want to concur with the former prime minister, 100%. But the steps should be, we dialogue. If dialogue fails, then we go the dissolution way. Because Rama, I would like to point out to you, Mheshimiwa has pointed all the processes that are bringing about the disagreements. But I would like to speak for the Mwananchi, for the Wakesho, who is in Dembwa, who is in Vusi, who is in, around the Kaloleni ward. They want to see services being delivered by both the executive and the assembly.
Which they are not seeing.
Which they are not seeing.
And the MCAs, you failed in that.
No, it is not our part. For our part,
to deliver?
No, to deliver. We are not supposed to deliver. Our part is the budget part. Once we are through with the budget, ours goes back to lawmaking, and then after the lawmaking, we go into oversight.
You see, Ram, the core functions of assembly is to oversight, representation. That is the core
and legislation.
But in terms of carrying out the development agenda and implementing the policies, that's where the executive comes in. And I would like to urge my brother, Mheshimiwa Omar, kindly, with the leadership of the assembly, make time, look for the governor, even if it means walking to his office.
They're looking for him on media, on social media.
Yeah, not on social media. I said,
you see, Bonarabu.
I said, for us, we have a clear mechanism of who would contact the governor, for example. The speaker has contacted the governor. The deputy speaker has done the same. The majority leader has done the same. And to no avail. He does not even pick up phone.
Doesn't pick up his phone.
Even pick up his phone.
I think I'd like, that is his word against the governor's word.
Because the governor
is not here to defend himself. Yeah. But what I'd like to say, these issues of either one is picking or not picking the phone, my appeal is kindly let's dialogue. Mwananchi, as we need services on the ground. When this impasse is going on, Wananchi are not getting services, and this is what we are all about. Hence our call for dialogue. Because I can give you a scenario. If we go for we go the dissolution way, maybe we start campaigning. By the time we come and elect new members, a year is almost over, and our people.
But you see, Cleophas, the bigger issue is one. Yeah. Who gets to go to whom?
I think. And
where do you meet? Because the law...
Yeah, you're talking about between the MCAs and
the
governor.
So for example, if the governor just goes on TV, on even social media, and say, I'm not meeting anybody, who would come and bring you together? That becomes the issue.
But I'd like to say one thing.
And that is why whatever that you
But remember, the governor said you can only go for dialogue if everyone is sincere. It is on record. He went publicly and said that he will be there if you are sincere.
We are all sincere. The cards he's talking about, we don't know where they are. Secondly, who told him that even he's going to be impeached? Nothing like that even is in there. It's neither here nor there.
But Bonaram, I'd like to appeal to my friend. He's saying who will go to who. For the last 2 years, I have seen His Excellency the Governor and our honorable MCAs moving around initiating projects. So this means they've been working in a very good relationship. They've been having a very good working relationship. And I think, is it 2 days ago, there was a report that came out, there's a survey that came out showing our county as, I think, having almost 56% absorption rate of the development funds, which means last year there's some work which was done. So if our county is taking an upward trajectory, then why should we go in the way of dissolution when there's a survey that has been carried and proven that our funds have been absorbed? So I urge my friend Omar, the way they've been working with the governor for the last 2 years, kindly go back to that working relationship, because there is a lot of antagonism on the ground. In the matter of fact, I would like to commend the governor. Ever since he has said he wants dissolution, he has done that with a lot of decorum. But we have seen our good friends who have started throwing words at the governor, and as well there are people from the executive, not particularly the governor, who are throwing words at the MCAs. And you can
within the governor's
within
office.
the governor's circles, and that is not good for the well-being of the social fabric of our public members.
This is quite interesting, because this issue to do with budget still continues. But let's move on to one other. There was a problem between the Department of Prisons and hundreds of residents of Kaloleni area over the ownership of a 40-acre piece of land at Ore Basin in Voi.
Yes,
right?
yes. We have that issue. And actually right now, there is even a Senate committee that came to visit that site. Basically, this is an aspect of ancestral land, which were owned by the same people. And actually, it's going to displace. If prison go into that land, it's going to displace over 300 families who have been living there since time memorial. And it is, I call still upon the NLC and the Ministry of Lands basically to revoke any documentation on the same said land, because currently, how many prisons do we have in Taita Taveta County? In Voi itself, as a town, we have already 3 parcels of land for prison. And then we have a very big block in Manyani area. Then we have another one again, 1,000 acres, which is being allocated to prison again in a place called Bura.
But you know, the issues to do with land is a problem, especially in Taita Taveta County. What is it that you're doing
the
so far?
aspect of historical injustices and people getting actually documentation in time. For example, we have a lot of, not only the issue of Ore Basin, as you call it, but also we have issues with the Sisal estates. In fact, there is an issue with the Motate Sisal estate. We have another one with the Voi Sisal estate, of people who have been living in that land since time immemorial, and yet a Sisal estate came and they were given titles on the same piece of land. So I am happy because the Senate committee and the county government are working around the clock, and it's just to urge still the NLC to walk in also, so that we can work together, and the Ministry of Lands, so that we can resolve some of these small issues that we have in terms of land. They have kept families from, like, for example, like the Mkamenyi issue, which is still in Kaloleni, and it's within is Mkamenyi versus Voi Sisal estate. These people have been living there even time immemorial. If you go there, you will find even they have their graveyards there and every other thing.
But then will there ever be justice for people who are, trying to fight for land? Because it's quite funny that even recently another group came out demanding for compensation and claiming the new Muatate police station, that it is built on their ancestral land, a police station.
Yeah. I think some of the issues, for example, it shows that even when that police station was being built, there was nothing like public participation. Yeah, I would say that, because if there was public participation, those people would have come in and said, why are you building it here? This is our ancestral land. Yeah, those are some of the cases that we have all over.
And I think in this country, Bonaram, land is a very emotive issue, and more so in the coast region. And to be specific, in Taita Taveta County, we have had a renewal of leases which have been done under very shrouded circumstances. We've recently heard about the issue, the one Mheshimiwa has talked about, the Sisal. It was being subdivided by people whom wananchi we don't know, and it's being sold to private owners. And I think the National Land Commission needs to come to our county. I know the Senate was in our county, the Senate Committee on Lands was in our county the other day, took views from, I think, Mukamenyi, and compensation of road compensation along Holili, because we've also had issues around that area. And what I would urge is that we try and assist our people, because there is a lot of injustices as far as land is concerned in Taita Taveta. We even have, for your information, I think it's the Criticos land, the land which Criticos is claiming to be his. That land does not belong to an individual. It is land that belongs to the community. So
technically, all that the both of you are saying is the NLC is the only entity that can be able to solve these issues to do with the land. Yeah, because it's the only
the
ones
mandated. That is mandated. Yeah. Beyond that, when you go to court, it just drags for
long and long.
For 30
I think
years,
the thing is they need to come down, listen to the pleas of the cries of the communities there, and help them. I think find solutions and lasting solutions at that matter.
How far are you when it comes to education? How is the education status of your county?
Generally, in terms of education, I might not be an expert in education, but just from my own perspective is that we are making improvement in terms of education, but the performance are not good at all in our schools. What I would urge our county is to put more resources in terms of maybe bursary allocations, and I also like to commend the governor, because since he's coming year in, year out, the allocation for bursaries has been going up steadily. But I think much needs to be done, because we have challenges in our county, and some of them are, I think, should I say, man-made, because you have even school-going children who cannot access schools because of maybe this wildlife conflict. As recent as, I think, 4 days ago, we had a place called Kasokoni in Taveta. School-going children were being chased back to their homes by marauding elephants. We had to intervene, called the KWS warders. So they need also to be up on their toe with schools that are bordering the parks, because these are the perennial challenges that are causing our people not to perform. Conflicts between human-wildlife conflict.
But I think also there's the aspect of beyond. I know one of the key things that we did not agree in the budget was actually the bursary fund. Actually, the one that was proposed by the governor was about 87 million from 150 million, which was there last year. So even actually we booked some money from one or two other areas and actually added it up, so that we have over 130 million to go into bursaries again.
You never had an agreement concerning bursaries?
Yeah, because bursaries actually, they took it to 87 million.
87?
Yeah, from 150 million. It is bursaries, it is loans for colleges and universities. Those are things we have been doing for the last 5 years. And this time they were reduced, but then we agreed again and pushed it back to about 137 million currently as the current amendments have been put. But I would say about education, one of the key aspects is over-congestion in schools.
Schools are congested?
They are more, yeah, because of the aspect of people need to go to school. because all chiefs were told nobody should stay at home. Yeah, when you go to a primary school, a class that had is supposed to have a maximum of nearly 40 to 50 students is having up to 65 students. The same is happening even in secondary schools. And I would urge still the Ministry of Education. There was a subsidy they used to give previously to schools to improve infrastructure that actually they need to enhance. Right now, when you hear about all the arguments that have been going on through media, the other day, like people were talking about MPs getting an extra, I don't know, 6 billion for allowances, for night outs, for houses and such kind of things. We should also go back and start asking ourselves, is that the way that we need to go? What of these schools? They need extra classes. They need extra teachers. They need so many things. And on top of it, now we are having a new curriculum.
So now you in your country, you don't have proper facilitation.
We do not have proper facilitation. Even for me, the last time I was asking people to re-emphasize, maybe even in terms of CDF, whatever is given to CDF, actually the emphasis they gave was education and issues to do with security and all that they re-emphasize again on knowing that it has to go directly to education and basically to infrastructure directly.
So people are really, really interested in learning in your county.
Yes.
There are so many.
Yes.
But now, that is contrary to a report.
Yes.
That was titled Citizen Report Card on service delivery in public primary schools. This report stated it analyzed 7 counties. Among them, you have Taita Taveta, that found the county has the worst school attendance rate. Only 68% of the pupils in Taita Taveta said they attended school regularly. So far, you have the worst school attendance.
That is based in some areas, even in part of my ward and other areas, just as you were talking about. There are areas where we have human-wildlife conflict which is going on. So attendance in such schools is not that good. In my area, I think I have 2 schools, primary schools, which are having the same situations, but they always come on a seasonal basis. Yeah.
So the problem is concerning human-wildlife conflict.
Yes. Yes.
Nothing else.
That among
human-wildlife conflict. Then there is an aspect of still we talk about aspects of early marriages, which were there and still continue to affect some of the school-going children. Those are still there. And the other thing is poverty. People are so poor.
I think it's not the other thing. It is the main thing.
It is the main thing.
Isn't it the main thing?
Yeah.
That's why bursaries are required.
Yes. In some of the schools, for me, I usually give, the committee within my ward actually gives out bursaries to about 700 students every year. And with 5 million, that is not a workable kind of thing. So, and most of the schools are boarding when you go to find out. Like in Voi, we have only 2-day schools only. So it means a student has to be taken to a boarding school, which is more expensive than a day school.
Yes, you're saying something concerning the education system. You have low turnout.
Yeah, earlier on, when we started this interview, there's something I pointed out that the national government is setting county government for failure. And some of the reasons I had in mind was particularly channeling of resources down to the counties. Now, you'd appreciate that recently there was, I think, one county that employed ECD, because that's the foundation of education, that did give a permanent employment, that is permanent pensionable, to ECD teachers. And I think in most counties, that is what they would like to do. But when there is not sufficient funds, then it becomes really untenable for them to achieve that point.
But your claims are contrary, because, okay, you said the national government is setting you up for failure, but again, we are having you, your county, the member of county assemblies, having their own money that has been set aside, that brings in this controversy concerning budget allocation.
You see, like, I'll give you a scenario. In Taita Taveta County, 50% of the teachers are actually under PNP. Yeah, they're permanent and pensionable. This year, we were picking up on another set of the 50 other percent to put them also on PNB. But the way he's saying, most of the resources, as you see, are never adequate. Because even through the PFM and all that, it gives us a threshold of how much salaries should be of the total budget. Because right now we are talking about 30%, not less than 30% should go into development. But also salaries have got a threshold also. So you will find that as we move on, that there will be one time some things will not be tenable because we need more resources going into the counties. I know we have still challenges on issues of revenue collection, and the issue of even now the government is bringing in again the issue of double taxation so that they can actually improve on having more investors coming in. But still the counties, in terms of, it is only this year for the first time, and I would congratulate the governor and his team for actually improving on revenue. We said that we need revenue, our target was 300 million. He surpassed that. It came to about 311 million. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it means that if we enhance how we do our collection of revenue further, automate, and also get other ways of getting like rates, having land rates being paid, but most of the people don't have titles. Because if everybody...
Which brings us back again to the debate of lands.
Yeah, that the delay of giving people titles, we cannot also afford to tax them in terms of rates so that we can have more money, like you see.
And they don't have the money?
No, for the people who have properties, definitely if you have a property, a big property, we expect you to be paying something out of it. But most of them are not in land which has just a number. Even in Voi Town, 90% of the land in Voi Town, people don't have titles. It is only the other day that people brought a few titles for small settlement areas like in Mwakingali, in a place called Mabomani. But the whole of Kaloleni area, if you go, there are no titles.
But then what are the legalities that are out there in terms of the
legal legality framework? Is actually the processes of the Ministry of Lands. The land processes that you have to follow to ensure that somebody at the end of the day gets. They are so tedious, they take longer, and we still urge, just as the President told us that we need to give over 1 million titles and so, then we have to see the 1 million titles actually being spreading in some of those areas.
I would like to get your comments on this. Taita Taveta County was position 36 out of 47 counties in the 2012 KCSE examination, and none of its top schools appeared in the top 100 schools nationally.
Yes, yes.
The county only has only had 2 A's in 2012, and 78% of its candidates scored below C-. Furthermore, you still have in 2017 the county has only managed a mean score of D+, which is way below the minimum university entry requirement.
Yes,
you know that. Now the county is not doing better in the KCPE, where it was ranked 38, position 38 out of 47 counties in 2013 and position 45 in 2012. That is very bad. In 2016, KCPE results, Taita Taveta County emerged position 42 in performance with a mean score of 217 marks. These are only 5 places ahead of the bottom counties. We have, which I will not mention, but they had 183 mean score. Okay, yeah. Let's look at 2018. Yes. 2018 results, Taita Taveta County did not produce any A. Yes. No A plane. Yes. But according to the County Director of Education, Philip Wambua, he said that the region only produced 5 A-, 8 B+, 12 B plane, and 16 B-. This is not.
Yeah, that is basically why we are having a dialogue. I think it's today. Today there is a dialogue which is going on in Taita Taveta County at Kenyatta High School that is being done by the Ministry of Education, who was spearheading the whole thing. And it's only for me, I had to come to your show and attend to
you're supposed to be there?
Yeah, I was supposed to be there. But my expectations is this year we expect better results as compared to last year. We have some of the members of parliament who are doing very well in terms of education. For example, like the member of parliament for Undanyi, the one from Mwatate. We have seen he is into education issues very fast. Even the one for Voi. And it's my hope that this will bring in a lot of improvement. But also we need also as a county to have a synergy in terms of, because there is bursary all over. We have bursary which is being given by through the CDF funds and all that, and other kitties. Even with the county, we have also the same bursaries within the wards and all that. We need also to create a synergy where we can have the most improved or most improving students to be provided for with bursaries. As you remember, I told you, Taita Taveta, we are not people who we rely so much on, would wish not to rely so much on being given food or always getting food rations from the national government.
You believe you can manage things on your own? We
believe we can manage only if some of the resources can be geared into Taita Taveta. For example, we are waiting still for the Mzima 2 pipeline, which can improve some of the things that we have and improve the water infrastructure also totally in the same county area. Because we need to go into other kinds of technologies like drip irrigation, like having irrigation schemes in certain areas to ensure first we are food secure. You know, when somebody is food secure and we don't have this issue of wildlife menace that is going on, then it means that at the long run, if you are food secure, that child, you can imagine, you find a student going to school having not taken even a cup of tea, not even uji.
Some of them walk for
kilometers and they walk for kilometers to go.
And there is no water, remember.
And yes, most of the areas, because they're dry, there is no water. But we have opportunities that we can use. For example, in Taveta, we have the Njoro Kubwa water. Is
it functioning?
No, it's not functioning, but it is a very big source of water, bigger even than Mzima.
But you see, we're talking about something just on paper, that it is a good source of water, but it is not being felt on the ground.
No, research has been done. And that is why, you remember I told you about the issue of inequalities. If Njoro Kubwa could have been funded, which would always cost us about 6 billion shillings, you see, people are talking about here nationally of billions and billions. And if that 6 billion would have been spent, then we could have been even supplying food to Mombasa and elsewhere. You can imagine. But what is happening? The direct opposite.
What's happening in Njoro Kubwa?
I think there is a lot of, as you're saying, kadi chini ya meza. There is a lot of vague about the contract which was signed by a previous.
You still go back to the governor's words there, all right?
And let me come back to the issue of our standards of education. I believe our county, whatever is contributing to the dwindling of education standards is poverty. And Makiu, Taita Taveta is one of the richest county. We have the Tsavo in our park in our county.
And I would also like to mention that you border Tanzania. It doesn't have any effect on Taita Taveta County now that these two countries are together in terms of development?
Of course, there's a lot of inter-country business that goes on, especially along the border lines. But I was coming to a point of about I had the benefit of campaigning that is in 2017. Campaigning with the current governor, and one of the issues that we saw to the electorate is that we are going to fight for the Tsavo National Park, just the way it was Masai Mara was turned to a game reserve. I fail to understand what double standards are these being applied by the national government, because Masai Mara, the community is benefiting directly from the game reserve.
You still say the national government has double standards. So
that is double standard.
To kill your game plan.
It is double standard, my friend. Because Taita Taveta County, we are not getting even a single coin from that park, and it is time. In fact, I think these petitions, these signatures that we are signing for dissolution, we might as well pile them and take them to the KWS. In fact, I think they should have been.
I think even me, when I heard about people taking up signatures, I thought signatures were supposed to be for the Tsavo National Park issue.
We should,
because that is an issue we have discussed.
Have
all
you
of us
tried to bring this thing even within your assembly sittings?
In the assembly, we passed a motion giving the governor powers to start picking and signatures and putting up a petition. We gave him that authority.
I think the governor,
which he has done, but right now it is being overtaken by other issues which have come up. You see, now priorities again are changing.
Mheshimiwa, there is a problem in Taita Taveta County, and it's quite interesting. You have a national park. How do you benefit from it?
We have never benefited
from it.
In
fact, what I'd say is the only benefit you're getting is human-wildlife conflict. That's the only benefit you're getting.
That's not a benefit.
That's the only benefit.
That's the only benefit in quotes.
In quotes, because there is a lot of revenues that the park brings to the national government, and I think it's only logical.
No, you know, Ram, everything for us is very unfortunate because national park is national.
Yeah.
You are supposed to share with every other person.
It is within your county.
It
is a national park.
It is within our county. You are not refusing, but it is national. The first name that starts is National Park. It is for everyone. So anything that's collected there goes into the bigger basket for the whole country, and then it's shared out to every other person. Do you think that is fair? Secondly, people talk about mining. When you go into mining, there's the Mining Bill, Mining Act, which came into being, the regulations which were brought. We have a lot of mining that's going on there. But then you find that you're told mining is a national function again. County, you have very little to talk about it. So unless when we collect any of the, what do you call it, royalties, is when now you wait. And you can imagine a place like Turkana. Then what happened? And now they're supposed to get how many % of oil mining?
How far does your role as members of county assembly in terms of oversight now go to? Because if you're talking about mining, then it means your role are restricted. You're still in handcuffs even when it comes to the national park. How far are you when it comes to oversight?
No, we can do for us as members of the county assembly. For us is to give the push to the other leaders that we have. For example, the bigger problem that we have fewer people, so we have fewer leaders. For example, we have only 4 MPs, a senator, a women representative, and the other person that we also push around is the governor.
Of which he does not agree with the MCAs and doesn't agree with the women representative.
When they go even to parliament, the parliament that has 300 and something people, what will four people do?
Nothing.
So I think even when the Building Bridges initiative were coming even to Taita Taveta yesterday, that was the issue. Yeah. People were saying, yes, we are fewer than other people. But that does not mean that we do not get the same rights like any other person.
You're still Kenyans.
We are Kenyans, and we need to be given that priority just like any other person.
Let's talk
about within the Constitution, I think we have to look at ways of actually also taking care of the people who we call minorities or smaller populations so that they can also thrive.
You've talked about wanting equal treatment.
Yes.
All right. Now, there is a group of people within your county who also want equal treatment.
Yes.
Doctors and nurses, the health sector. That is a problem. They wanted to strike. In fact, nurses in your county protested over poor medical equipment and understaffing concerning the CBA agreement. They say they don't even see the county government working towards meeting the collective bargaining agreement.
No, for me, I would say critically, if there is a place that you are looking at critically at this time, is the health sector. We have had challenges in terms of the health sector, how things are working there. And I think the last time the governor made a reshuffle and actually moved around some of the ministers. Now we have somebody who has been there for a few months. But we are seeing so much improvement going on within there. But still...
what improvements are you seeing, Mheshimiwa?
Improvement in terms of, before services when you go to emergency, for example, and you need the services immediately, right now there are doctors who are there, they're working, and they're ensuring that they're taking care of that.
Nurses complained of understaffing,
Yes, we know we have still an issue of understaffing because...
but you're saying...
yes.
They still,
I'd give you just an example. Even for me, I'm not looking at nurses so much because the bigger factor that we have is the aspect of diagnostics. For example, if a doctor comes and he wants to check what is wrong with you, every other thing must be working. From the laboratory has to work. If he has to send you to the CT scan, it should be working. If he sends you to, whom do you call them, the X-ray department, they have to be working. And it's that's why I'm saying I'm hopeful this year, because you have put so much money in terms of buying a lot of equipment and putting up drugs and all that. We are spending nearly 182 million in the current budget that we have, beyond actually employment of new nurses, as you're talking right now.
Let me come to your thought. What do you think about the health sector in your county?
Concerning the health sector in our county, I'd love to first of all appreciate even the current administration, that is the county executive, because since they've come in, they've been consistently been absorbing nurses, and that is on record. If you go to the records of County Public Service Board, you will see employment of nurses has been done, I think, year in, year out.
Are you guys benefiting from Cuban doctors?
Yeah, we have only two.
I think we have
we have only two.
You have two specialists, I think.
One who is a specialist, kidney specialist, and the other one is a physician. One is based in Voi, where we have the what do you call it? We have dialysis machines are actually at the referral hospital in Voi, and the other one is based actually in Taveta.
So concerning the health, I think there is a steady improvement, but what, because the nurses are complaining about understaffing, but when the government is
and
the county
medical equipment, when
the county government is doing a deliberate measure to make sure that of the people they are employing, a bigger percentage are nurses and medical practitioners. So I wouldn't like to blame squarely on the executive, but to just say that of course there is need for an improvement for maybe the provision of equipment. And even the other day, I think how many ambulances were brought in? The county government?
3 new ambulances.
3 new ambulances. So there is a deliberate attempt by the county government to improve the health sector.
Well, there are some doctors who are saying that they are forced to refer people to either the Coast General Hospital in Mombasa or to Makindo in Makwini County because you don't have, the proper facilitation to cater for your patients.
For example, we don't have an ICU in our county. But I know there are plans already of putting up such a structure with the national government. I think we are just waiting for funding from this year. They'll be putting up a structure of about 700 million, which will be having all those ICU, the emergency unit, the casualty and every other thing. And it's still to urge that we really still need to push the national government
now,
to ensure that we improve on such kind of stuff.
You're saying you want to push the national government.
Yes.
Taita Taveta County did not just come up yesterday.
Yes.
It has always been there.
It has always, yeah.
People have been living there.
Yes.
And if you don't have an intensive care unit, how do you plan to cater for your own people? Will you be moving them from one county to the next?
No, the last time I heard of a bill of just to put up one, just a few beds, 3 or 4, 5 beds, it was costing over 100 million. And it's only that most of the people think that it's one of the easier things to do because...
your budget is 5.3 billion shillings as a county.
Yes, it is 5.3 billion. We are not refusing about that. But the only money that goes into development is about 1.8 billion. And the 1.8 billion partly also is donor-related funding. So you cannot also actually go back and then start. It's a conditional grant. It has specific issues that you're supposed to do.
All right.
So I'd say that's a fortunate bit because as other counties are getting over 6, 7, 8 billion from the national coffers, for us we are still at nearly 4 billion. And yet still we have the same number of nurses. If you get to see the statistics of Taita Taveta, how much we spend only on healthcare, from allowances and everything. The last time I was checking, it was over 1.2 billion, 1.3 billion.
All right.
And pushing.
At Michelle Effie is asking, at Taita Taveta Uni, who is bringing camels in Taita Taveta County?
I cannot respond to, I cannot say who it is because it's Taita Taveta County, as you know, we have about 28 ranches in Taita Taveta County. And within these ranches, even the other time we had a lot of conflict. One person was killed, a local person was killed the other time. And seriously, we need to have a regulation. Already as a county assembly, we have already passed a policy on animal movement. We are already awaiting now to get to the bill. We have the bill, but already we have sent it to the government printer so that we can get a bill number so that then we can work on those kind of issues.
All right.
I would say the issue of camels is brought about because Taita Taveta County, as you know, as I've said, we have over 28 ranches. But as we say, I talked one time with the local leadership. I said that we still need to put clear measures on even those ranches, how they're being run. Because yes, they're there. Some are community ranches, but the way they are run, that is why that lady is talking, she's seeing camels here and there. Because there is somebody
we need to have a
benefiting.
We need to have a way of regulating others.
Yes.
Deguram,
I think concerning the issue of camels, we have an issue here in Taita Taveta County. And the issue is we have people who are signing lease agreement with the camel owners. And when they sign lease agreement with these camel owners, they graze in the leased land, but then again you find they overlap and go to private or individuals' land. I think that's where the conflict is coming in. And as a matter of fact, even the person who was killed the other day, if the family would be called here today, I'm sure he would categorically deny that he had any lease agreement with the said camel grazer, who unfortunately had to terminate his life just because of those disagreements. What I think the people of Taita Taveta categorically are saying is that if at all the camels are going to come into in our land, let it be structured, and to whoever it is coming to, contain them within your locality. If it is a ranch, make sure they don't overlap to people's, because of late it has been chaotic.
Okay. Poet Wandurwa is saying, I like the fact that the guests admit that Taita County is in chaos. So how will they make a difference in order to solve these problems? Your response, please.
I would say one of the key things, just as when we started the program, and I said that there's nothing that we can say that we cannot rectify or improve on or ensure that it is workable without talking. We need to sit, and I'll still urge my governor that we really need to sit, we really need to work on some of the differences and the issues that we have. These are just different, is a matter of opinion. For example, if somebody says, I think that people should have water, and another one says, I think the hospital would have done much better to the same people. All this development that people are talking of is going into the people. And we are all working towards the same people. And if we are working towards the same people, it is us to sit down and come up with an amicable solution that will be able to ensure that we do not waste a lot of time. Because time is going. We have completed 2 years as of August. So we have only 3 years to go.
All right. Njeri Kinuthia is asking, is it possible for the MCAs and the governor to sit down and reach to a conclusion rather than to fight each other and bring chaos in your county? And in connection to that, Kabaka Brian Francis is asking, do you think the governor's decision to dissolve the Taita County is the solution, or will it just bring more chaos in the county? All right. At Faith Nathans, do you think Taita Taveta County is heading in the right direction? All right. Wycliffe Owino Ketch, the last tweet that I'm reading. What measures are you taking to improve the education sector? Tackle all these tweets in 1 minute. Yes.
First of all, I think I would love to say we are in a very unfortunate situation that we found ourselves in, where we are calling our county to be dissolved. Mm-hmm. And I would like to mention, just as an example, even the former Honorable Raila alluded to. We are having disagreement also in Kisumu County, where they're asking, I think, 50 million per each ward for the development agenda in those wards. So these disagreements are there. And what I think we would like to do is, can we iron these issues out? Can we sit down, dialogue,
all right,
as leaders and as politicians in the county?
All right.
Yeah.
Now, final question to you, Mheshimiwa. And if you have time, you can also handle the issues that have been asked. But now, what is it that Taita Taveta County has that can give a reason for other counties to come and do benchmarking?
We have a very good, thriving mining sector, though not very much regulated. But we have a lot of gemstone mining, industrial mining that's going on, which they can come and check. We have also an aspect of agriculture, in fact, in the Taveta area, that they're doing very well, and also upper Taita Hills, where they're doing a lot in terms of vegetable farming, and also the livestock sector, which is doing very, very well, though the ranches are not, most of been leased to other people.
But other people have the ranches?
They have the ranches, but well, whatever that they're doing is great.
Well.
And also tourism, we have very good tourism sites that people can come. But on the issue of education, I would like to assure the person who tweeted that we are working on it. And I'm hoping that one of these few days that we'll come back here and tell you, Ram, you know, we were here seated on this day, and today, these are the results, and you can tell every Kenyan.
I'm looking forward to that day.
But the bigger thing is we should also understand, us as leaders, that Taita Taveta is bigger than all of us. Mm-hmm. And if Taita Taveta is bigger than all of us, we have to put back our egos, put back whatever that we think that I can sit with so-and-so, and look at Taita moving forward.
All right. Yeah. That is Honorable Omar Ahmed, Member of County Assembly of Kaloleni Ward, and also the Vice Chair of Justice and Legal Committee. Thank you very much for coming. You very much. And Honorable Cleophas Maghanga, 2017 senatorial aspirant and Ford Kenya National Executive Member. It has been awesome. Thank you very much, Waheshimiwa, for joining me this morning.
Thank you.
Putting Taita Taveta County into focus today on County Watch. It ends now. It has been a pleasure having you from 6 all the way through to 10. See you again tomorrow morning. Remember, every week we have County Watch. It may be your county. So stick around for that right here on Good Morning Kenya. See you again tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. My name is Ram Aguko. God bless you. May God bless the work of your hands. Keep it KBC Channel 1.